Today is day 5 with my little guy, and I'm getting closer and closer on that time crunch because I believe Sunday or Monday we're gonna head out of here, and right now it's Wednesday. So I'm really trying to make him prepped and ready to go on the road best I can, at least groundwork wise. Definitely not riding, but speaking of riding, today I'm hopefully going to introduce the saddle. Now in my afternoon session yesterday, which I didn't record, I worked on just hosing him off a little bit so I was able to get him wet on each side. I worked on having Camille walk behind him from a very big distance because that is a big thing for Mustangs, having someone come into their blind spot. Unfortunately, he won't fit in my normal colt starting English saddle because the girths I have are too large. I will probably have to get a smaller one, so I'm having him try out my everyday riding saddle because it does have a smaller girth on it, and we'll see if I can get that to fit him. To get started right away, we're going to go back to that saddle pad and see how quick we can get to that point we were at yesterday with it. So introduce it to him. Good boy. I'm going to see if I can just go in and pet him with it. Good boy. That's much better. Good job. Go in again and pet him with it. I really like to have repetition because I feel like I can get them a little bit more comfortable and relaxed while using it, but at the same time, I don't want to over drill anything on the horse. If they understand it, I want to keep moving along. Now, nothing's going to be perfect the very first day you do it, so you have to kind of expect them to increase in progress over time. Because if I waited for him to be 100% confident with everything, and even though it sounds a little weird, it's mainly because we're in a training competition. If I expect him to be 100% confident with one thing before moving to the next, I would probably not get anywhere. So I just have to make sure that every day, everything we're doing is progressing. And I do apologize for not showing you guys my afternoon sessions, but it's a little bit difficult because, good boy, we get a big release right there. Because I really enjoy just kind of being able to come out and work with him on my own time and spend some time listening to music, which helps desensitize them as well. And then if I'm filming, I can't really have music playing. So for this first exercise, I'll keep the rope he has on right now. Actually, for the first 2 of them. One, I'm going to make sure that he is prepped and ready for my hand to be going under this belly area on both sides. Good boy. So for this rope girth, you toss the rope over. You're going to reach under and grab it. Make sure you have a little bit of a grip on that nose in case that head needs to come to you. And then you're just going to hold it kind of in this area right here. Hi, friend. And you're going to pull up and add a little bit of pressure and then release. Now, if your horse is reacting, you're going to do the best you can to stay with them, but not tighten the pressure anymore. Good, and if they're not, you're going to make sure that you release in between tightening it a lot more. Good, and release. Now I'm going to slide it back just a couple inches. And tighten. Good boy, and release. Now the other thing I want to make sure we have down is flexing, which he's just going to automatically do today. Good boy. See if I can get him to put his head straight forward again and add a little bit of pressure. Good boy. Now I could look for a little bit more of his nose to turn, but I'm pretty happy with that right now. I think this guy's roughest spot currently is having things behind him, which is super normal for a Mustang. And there's a lot of ways to work on that. It's just kind of hard when you're by yourself to work on that. Usually you have to work with another person, work with them tied up, or work on long lining, which will be happening pretty soon. So right here when he's getting nervous, stick with him. So I'm not going to release until he finds that release good on his own in the tension of the lead rope. Good boy. And then I'll let go there. Good. So flexing is super important to make sure you have that control over the nose for it to come to you in any emergency situation. I start by just tossing it over and snaking it back. And you'll notice that I'm going to stand a little bit more off to the side rather than directly in front of him for this. And that's because I'm helping him with the turn. Eventually, I do want him to kind of be able to figure it out on his own without me standing around to the side. So we went off screen a little bit there, but basically he just got a little spooked by the rope coming out of his other eye. So I'm going to keep asking. I don't necessarily want him to lead to me. What I want him to do is turn away, so I'm going to tip the nose. So when they get stuck like this, again, you don't want to try to stand directly in front of them. You want to try to start walking around them. Good. Good boy. Now he's thinking a little bit. Good boy. There we go. As soon as he starts doing that turn, I'm going to make sure not to inch forward on him. Good, because he is nervous about people behind him. Good boy. Good. So you'll see now why I kind of like having that long rope. One, I can keep with them if they get a little bit worried. And two, I don't have to be right next to them as I'm doing it, which one is safer for me, and two, makes my horse feel a little bit more comfortable. Now what I don't want him doing is anticipating the turn, because I want him to, one, get comfortable with ropes behind him, and two, understand to give to pressure. So I'm just going to follow along with him here and wait. Good boy. Again, keep tossing further back. And kind of like with every other exercise, it doesn't really matter how many times you miss here, because all you're doing is just getting your horse more comfortable with ropes. There we go. Now we have thinking. I'm going to back up to give him some space. Good boy. Good job. Again, when that nose tips, good. Good boy. I like that he was able to find that release on his own, even with it being lower on his leg. When I introduce a saddle for the first time, usually I like to let the horse walk up to it and sniff it a few times. Sometimes I'll put it on a panel and lead them up to it. Sometimes I'll leave it on the ground in here and have them check it out. Another thing some people like to do are take the stirrups off of it. And I do introduce the saddle first without a saddle pad. Good boy. I'm gonna give him an opportunity to look at it over here since he's kind of eyeing it. Good boy. And I just go through the motion of lifting it kind of up above them, letting it stroke their side. Good boy. So I'm going to ask him to walk. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. There's so many ways to break it down so much more, but hopefully this can kind of show you a little bit of the saddling process and how we separate each component. We do the saddle pad, we do the belly rope for the girth, and then we also do the saddle. Good boy. So you guys saw how he was definitely way more nervous with this pad in the last session. Good boy. And he's pretty relaxed here, relaxed enough to go and itch a fly as I'm putting it on him. Good boy. So again, I'm not really gonna tiptoe around or anything. Good boy. I do wanna make sure I'm being safe and holding the rope so I can have that nose turned to me if necessary. Good boy. So I'm just watching his legs right now because he's got a pretty big fly on them. Good boy. All right, gonna give him some space right now. Let him kind of think about it. Good. And I am gonna pick up my stick so I can send him out if necessary. There is another downfall to having a horse with really good draw. When they get into a nervous situation, they may try to come towards you, and if they're new, they might not understand when you're asking them to stop. Good boy. Good. There we go. That was a good takeoff. Good job. All right. So if I'm fairly clear in my direction here, I'm just gonna ignore the saddle and do the best I can just to kind of keep my energy down and make sure I'm asking my horse for all the things he already knows, which is he put the saddle on and wore it. He's worn a surcingle and a belly rope to prep for the girth. He's had the saddle pad on him and walked around, and we have worked on sending out and moving our feet. Now, unlike starting under saddle, I do believe that the first time wearing the saddle, I want my horse to go walk, trot, canter. Under saddle, obviously I don't necessarily follow that. I usually get on them bareback the first few times, or I just sit on them for the first 2 or 3 rides, and then I look at the walk, and if that's solid, then the next ride maybe we trot a little bit. It all kind of depends. So right now, I'm just gonna stick with him until I can see a little bit of relaxation in his body, which might take a while, so I'll probably cut it here. Good boy. I'm a big fan of his canter. It is not as sporadic as most of these guys. Early on, they tend to like to long trot and kind of hold that gait. Good boy. Good. You were right, go on. And the canter can be a little bit frantic and more like they're hopping with their hind feet. Good. Anytime he looks in or questions me, I just point my arm out to guide him, and then if needed, I'll put my stick up, add a little bit of energy from behind to drive him. As soon as he moves, and right now at this stage, I don't care at what gait he moves at, as soon as he moves out and goes the direction I want, I soften my body, relax my shoulders. Good boy. And let's ask for the canter over here. Canter. Good. And I'm fine with only 2 or 3 strides. He doesn't know yet to hold a full canter circle, so as long as I get a couple strides, good boy. Good boy. There we go. Come on in. Good job, friend. We'll do a little bit of desensitizing with this saddle. So I might just tap on it, remove that tapping, tap on it, remove the tapping. Good boy. Just like everything else, I go to the new thing and then the old thing. for that relaxation factor, that release. Good boy. If I need to give a really big release, especially the horses that don't necessarily enjoy being pet, what I'm gonna do is just fully walk away from that horse as if I'm using that approach and retreat method. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep tapping on this. Wait till those feet stop moving. Good, that's the first thing. And then we look for relaxation. Good boy. Good. Good boy. We'll work a little more on that desensitization and then unsaddling, and that will be this guy's morning session. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content like this.